Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another weekly webinar, first week of April. I believe last week I reminded everybody that our date for today would be 4/4, which feels like a good sign of good things to come. I know we'll have a good program today. I'll remind everyone to please mute yourselves and to use the chat feature if you have questions or comments while we're together today. If you need closed captioning, there's a button at the bottom of the screen that you can click on and the captions will be enabled. We are recording, so this will be available on our YouTube channel shortly if you'd like to watch it again or refer someone else to watch it. So with that, those are all of our housekeeping notes, and I am excited to introduce our speaker for today. With us, we have Dr. Hannah DeVos, who is an associate professor in the Department of Physical Therapy, Rehabilitation Science, and Athletic Training here at KU. Dr. DeVos also has a joint appointment with the Department of Occupational Therapy Education. His bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees are from the University of Leuven in Belgium. And Dr. DeVos's work focuses on the intersection between cognition and mobility in healthy aging and age-related neurodegenerative conditions. And he has a specialty in driving rehabilitation, which I know a lot of you are quite interested in, as driving is a big topic as we all get older, and especially for those who are experiencing cognitive change. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Dr. DeVos. He's got his slides ready, and we will hear from him about the study. Thank you, Dr. DeVos.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Kelly. It's really a pleasure to be here today and talk a little bit more about the study that we currently have ongoing, which is called the NeuroWalk study. Let's see how I can move. Yeah. So as Kelly mentioned, I'm a physical therapist by profession, and I have an appointment in the Department of Physical Therapy, Rehabilitation Science, and Athletic Training at the University of Kansas Medical Center. And I'm the director of the Laboratory for Advanced Rehabilitation Research and Simulation. And that's quite the mouthful. So we usually refer to our lab as the LARS lab. It's actually named after my second godchild, so it makes it also easier for me. So what we do in the LARS lab is we are using virtual reality equipment to improve rehabilitation outcomes in older adults and adults with neurological conditions. This is our dream team. We have many studies currently ongoing, but the line of research that I'm interested in, as Kelly mentioned, is on that intersection between cognition and mobility. And that is what the NeuroWalk study is about. But of course, I am not the only one doing the study, although I'm the principal investigator. We also have Sodiq Fakorede, who's currently on call with us today, and also Kai Cheng. So he's helping us with data collection and scheduling of participants. So my line of research is related to cognition and mobility in aging and individuals who experience cognitive changes. I'm very interested in how cognitive changes may affect mobility and how mobility changes may affect cognition. And when I talk about cognition, I'm thinking about thinking functions, memory, attention, visual spatial functions, because these are all critical functions for mobility. When I talk about mobility, I'm covering the entire spectrum of mobility, including balance, walking, and also driving. And although the topic of today is not about driving, I'm happy to come in for a future meeting where I can talk more about the research that we do on driving and some of the services that we have available to help people stay safe on the roads for as long as possible. So for today's presentation, I will mainly focus on balance and walking. Now, why do we study walking in older adults? Well, first of all, because of health and safety. Walking is a very important activity of daily living. It's a fundamental aspect of daily life, and maintaining mobility is essential for older adults to remain as independent as possible and also avoid falls and fall-related injuries. We know that older adults are more likely to fall compared to younger adults. And people who experience a fall and are admitted to the hospital are more likely to have serious adverse events from that fall. So we want to make sure that we can prevent falls as much as possible by promoting mobility in older adults. The second reason is that walking plays a very significant role in maintaining overall health and mental well-being. We need to walk in order to do groceries, in order to go to social activities. So it's a really important aspect of quality of life. But we also know that with aging, there may be a decline in physical functions, including balance and gait. And we are interested in identifying those factors that may relate to some changes in balance and gait. And of course, we know that the demographic in the United States is changing. There's more older adults, and the aging populations will continue to grow globally. And promoting healthy aging is a public health priority. So these are some of the reasons that we study walking in older adults. Now, why do we study walking in older adults with cognitive challenges? Because we know that older adults with cognitive challenges are more likely to fall, even more likely to fall than individuals who do not experience cognitive challenges. We also know that older adults who have both cognitive as well as mobility challenges are more likely to experience serious adverse health events. I'm thinking about frailty, falls, and dementia compared to older adults who only have cognitive changes or who only have mobility changes. So there seems to be a relationship between cognition and mobility. We call this a dual decline in cognition and mobility that increases the likelihood of frailty, falls, and dementia. So we are interested in helping individuals who have both cognitive as well as mobility challenges to promote safety and independence for as long as possible. Because we also know I'm a rehabilitation professional, so I'm a physical therapist by profession. My ultimate goal is to come up with new intervention strategies that can maintain cognitive aging and mobility for as long as possible in a healthy way. So we have different intervention programs that are increase walking distance and velocity, because we know that if we can improve gait, distance, and velocity, we can also improve cognitive functions. And a couple of years ago, I believe in 2018, a study came out that was based on a very large sample of older adults, and was published in a very reputable journal that showed that older adults who walk slower than 2 miles per hour have an increased risk of frailty, falls, and dementia, and are also more likely to pass away at an earlier age compared to older adults who can walk faster than 2 miles per hour. So it's kind of morbid, but the study mentioned that the Grim Reaper walks at a pace of 2 miles per hour. So we need to make sure that we continue walking faster than 2 miles per hour to promote a healthy aging as much as possible. But that is a really important finding of the study, because it shows that gait is an index of overall health. And so we need to really work on maintaining mobility for as long as possible. So this brings us to the NeuroWalk study and why we are interested in studying balance, gait, and cognitive functions in older adults. The NeuroWalk study consists of two parts. I will first talk about balance, and then I will talk about walking. We often don't think about that, but balance is actually a complicated activity. When we go back to our baby years, or perhaps you have experienced that with your own children or with your grandchildren, that when babies develop from crawling to standing up, that this comes with trial and error. They often fall and they pick themselves up again. So it's a learning process, and babies have to learn how they can integrate information that is coming in from different senses in order to maintain upright. And there are three systems that are important for us to maintain upright. And that is the information that is coming in from the eyes. We call this vision. Then we also have information that is coming in from the sensation in the feet, the sensation in the knees, the sensation in the hip. We call these body sensations. And then we also have two vestibular organs in the ears that also help us maintain an upright position. And so in order to maintain upright, we have to integrate the information that is coming in from the eyes, from the feet, knees, and hips, and from the vestibular systems in order to maintain upright. Now, older adults with cognitive challenges do not necessarily have problems with vision or problems with the knees, hips, and feet, or problems with the vestibular systems, but they may have challenges integrating, processing that information in the brain. And that might lead to balance problems. And if older adults with cognitive challenges show increased balance problems, there might also be an increased risk of falls. So it's really important to identify if older adults have balance issues so we can prevent a fall. And that is what our work is about. Now, in order to do so, in order to evaluate those three systems, vision, body sensations, and vestibular functions, and how they contribute to intact balance, we have created a new test. And we call this test the Virtual Reality Sensory Organization Test, or the VRSOT. And it looks rather complicated, and we use fancy tools, but I will take you through the experiment. So here you see a brave participant that just completed a visit in our lab, and she and I have consent, of course, to show these pictures. She's wearing what we call a virtual reality headset. These look like big goggles that we put in front of your eyes. And when you look through the goggles, you can see different scenes. And I will explain those different scenes on the next slide. Then, and it's not so visible, but I will show you some pictures where it's more visible. You also see that our participant is wearing a blue cap. It is like a net, and this net has several electrodes. And these electrodes are able to capture brain activity. Then our participants are also standing while wearing a safety harness. So we make sure that there's no risk of falling. We actually have not only a safety harness, we also have a spotter that makes sure that you're not falling. And then finally, participants are standing on a plate, which we call a balance plate, so we can see how much you sway back and forth and left and right. So this is what you can see through the goggles. We have three different scenes. In the first test, we ask you to stand while looking through the glasses, and it's like you're in a room with three walls. And you can use the information on the walls to make sure that you stand upright. In the second condition, we have you stand, but with the eyes closed. Well, in fact, it's not with the eyes closed, but we completely darken the room, so we can no longer use the information that is coming in through the eyes to maintain upright. We actually have to depend on the information that is coming in from body sensations and from the vestibular systems in order to maintain upright. And then we make it a little bit more difficult. What we have you do then is stand, but then we have those walls moving up and down. And so what we are actually doing is we are tricking your brain. Your eyes are telling you that you're moving, whereas the sensations of your body and the information that is coming in from the vestibular systems are telling you that you're not moving at all. So we are interested in how you can maintain upright, dealing with the conflicting information that is coming in from your eyes and the intact information that is coming in from your body sensations and from the vestibular system. And we do those tests on a firm plate. And we also do the same tests while standing on a foam. So it makes it even a little bit more challenging. And so, as I said, we have had some brave participants come in, and I will show you some videos of what that looks like. Now, before I show you the video, I will show you the video twice. I will first show you the video and I will not give any explanation. And then I will show the video again and I will explain to you what is going on. But you will also hear beeps, either high-pitched beeps or low-pitched beeps. The reason that we also have you listen and respond to those high-pitched beeps and low-pitched beeps is because we want to see how well you can maintain upright while also engaging in what we call a cognitive task. Because it rarely happens that we're just standing still for the sake of standing still. We often stand still while we're talking to someone else or while we're talking on the phone or going about cooking and whatnot. So in normal activities, we usually do dual tasking, what we consider dual tasking, two tasks at the same time. And so we do that in an experiment by having our participants not only stand still, but then also respond to those low beeps, high beeps, and also some other beeps. So I'm going to show you the video first, and then I will show you the video again and explain a little bit more what you can see. But I first wanted to give you the warning that you will hear those high-pitched beeps and low-pitched beeps. Okay. I will now turn down the volume and show it again and give a little bit more detail as what you can see. So in this, let's see. Yeah. So in this example, our participant is standing on a force plate or a balanced platform, and she's listening to those high-pitched beeps and low-pitched beeps and responding to those beeps by clicking on this clicker. Then you see the virtual reality headsets, and the red cap that she's wearing is what we call electroencephalography or EEG. So these are electrodes that are attached to the nets that can actually pick up brain activity. And that brain activity is then transmitted to that recorder here on the back of the net. So this is what you can see in the task. Now, this participant did a really good job in standing still. It was also one of the easier tests. She was standing on a firm force plate, on a firm balance platform. But in the next situation, in the next example, we have also a brave participant, but in this test, she's standing on a foam. So it makes it a little bit more complicated to stand still. And I think you can appreciate that it's a little bit harder to stand still because the arms are kind of aside her body. So let's take a look at a more complex condition. Now I turned down the volume for the sake of the example. So she was still doing a great job, of course, but you can see it's a little bit harder to maintain up still. There's a little bit more sway, and the arms are set aside. But as you can see, we have a safety harness, and Sodiq is standing behind the participant to make sure that there's no fall.
Dr. DeVos,
Yes, ma'am.
this whole time they're also seeing in the goggles the pictures you showed us previously, right?
Yes, so they
Okay.
can either stand in the room with no moving walls, they can stand in the room but it's pitch dark, or they're standing in the room while the walls are moving up and down. And so, of course, if you're standing still on the foam with the walls moving up and down, that's already a quite complex condition. Yes, so most likely, I would need to confirm with Sadiq, but most likely this is the last and most difficult test that our participant is engaged in. Does that make sense, Renee? Very good. So then we have the second part of the study, which is the actual walking part of the study. Now, I worked very hard on this animation. Did you see it? Okay, before I get started, so then we have our participants walking down a walkway of about 10 meters, and they are still wearing that net that can record brain activity, but now they're no longer wearing a virtual reality headset. What they are wearing, but you cannot see it well because this participant is wearing black clothes. They're wearing wearable sensors attached to the ankles, to the wrists, to the chest, and to the lumbar area. These wearable sensors are able to pick up very detailed values about the way that you walk. How fast you can walk, the distance of your walk, the time it takes you to take a turn, the cadence, length of each of the steps, very detailed information. Now, we have our participants walk up and down for about 2 minutes, while we're also recording the low-pitched tones and the high-pitched tones. So I have a small snippet of what that walk test looks like. So this is the walking part of our study. Now, we have been very fortunate to have been working with a lot of younger adults and older adults who were brave enough to complete our study. At this time, we have 24 younger adults included in the study, 42 older adults included in the study, and 11 older adults who have cognitive challenges. And that is an amazing, amazing recruitment. So we are so happy for those who have already participated in the study, but we're still looking to recruit more. Our recruitment goal for the younger adults is 40. Our recruitment goal for the older adults with intact cognition is 80. And then we've already made some headway in recruiting older adults with cognitive challenges, but we're looking to kind of recruit 20 older adults with cognitive challenges. So what does the study entail? The study entails one single visit, so it's not that much of a time commitment, and the visit will take about 1.5 to 2 hours. And during this visit, we do the balance and walk tests that you have just seen. And we also do some cognitive testing. I haven't talked about that much, but we also do a blood test because we're interested whether there is any blood markers that can tell us if a person is experiencing any challenges with walking or balance. At the end of the visit, we also provide a compensation in the form of a clin card. Perhaps many of you are already familiar with the clin card. It looks like a debit card where we will deposit funds as a token of appreciation for your willingness to participate in this study. So that's the information that I have about the NeuroWalk. Feel free to reach out either to me or to Sadiq Fakarede for any questions that you might have, or I am also happy to answer any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. DeVos. I especially appreciate knowing that I have to walk at least 2.1 miles an hour at all times. Stay away from that Grim Reaper. I usually can walk about 3 miles an hour, so I feel like I'm okay, but I think all of us will be thinking about that as we go forward from today. So thank you very much. If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves or use the chat and ask our great speaker. Aha, in the chat, Dr. DeVos, Beth says she's 64 and has MCI. Would she qualify?
Yes, we are looking to recruit older adults who experience cognitive challenges. So that can be individuals who have Alzheimer's disease or individuals with mild cognitive impairments due to probable Alzheimer's disease. So we're happy to evaluate and see if you would qualify for the study.
Perfect. And
And
then it looks like, sorry, Dr. DeVos, Renee is asking me if you could show the slide again with the study goals.
this slide, Renee? No? Okay.
The one right before, the one with the, nope, yes,
The recruitment
that one.
goals. Yes.
I just wanted to grab a picture of it. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And thank you. We have in the chat from Dr. Lewandowski our phone number if you want to know more about whether you might be eligible for this or other studies. You can call our main number at 588-0555 and press 1 for research.
Really appreciate that. And I just wanted to say that I've been working with the KU ADRC since my arrival here at KU Med Center, which was in 2016. And I've really valued the collaboration with the KU ADRC and particularly with the recruitment, engagement, and outreach core. So they have been very supportive of the research that we do. And I'm looking forward to continue to collaborate with the KU ADRC.
Very good. Okay. We have a request from Robert to show the slides with the 3 factors, Dr. DeVos. And Susan is asking where the study's being done. These are here at locally, right, in Kansas City.
The University of Kansas Medical Campus on the Kansas City side, so the main campus, not in Fairway, but on the main campus.
Okay. Very good. Okay, thanks everybody. Before you depart,
David has his hand up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, David, go ahead. Thank you.
I thought I saw when I was reading about this that there was something that was going to disqualify me, but when you were going over the slides, it's not mentioned. There is no MRI.
There's no MRI needed. So we can definitely work with the KU ADRC, and they have our criteria to see if you would be eligible to participate in the study or not. So we can definitely reach out to Dr. Lewandowski and her team, but there would be no MRI needed to participate in the study.
Finally.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Susan, it's the hospital campus in Kansas City. Thank you, Sadiq. And Robert is asking for an earlier slide with 3 factors.
I wonder if that is this slide? Is that the slides?
Yes, that slide, please.
Perfect. Okay, wow. I'm glad everybody is paying such close attention to this. Walking is great. Keeping upright is great. No falling allowed. So I'm glad you are all finding this useful. Dr. DeVos, thank you again. And because this is recorded, I'm going to hold you to your offer to come back and talk with us about driving at some point. I will send you an email and we can maybe get a date on the calendar coming up here when you're available. Thank you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. And then one last thing before everybody goes. Next Thursday, we are having our first of hopefully several in-person, actually hybrid version of the weekly webinar. So next Thursday, we'll be here on Zoom as always, but for those of you who can get to our office on Shawnee Mission Parkway, we will also be gathering in person for the webinar. And we will have it with us an author, Michael F. James, who's coming down from Lincoln, Nebraska. He has written a book called Dear Judy, a love story rewritten by Alzheimer's. I've read it. It is about his relationship with his wife who had Alzheimer's disease and what it was like to be her caregiver. They were both textile artists, so they made quilts and other beautiful artwork. He'll talk about that. He will also talk about how they participated in research, especially with an eye toward benefiting those of us in the future. His book is very moving. He's going to read some selections from it and tell us kind of about his inspiration. There will be snacks in case that is a motivating factor for any of you. And I do believe Mr. James is going to have copies of his book available. We're still figuring that out. So we also do have a copy of it in our dementia library for caregivers. And that's something I should probably tell you all more about in the newsletter and on a webinar, that we are curating a library full of lots of great resources for caregivers of all ages, for people experiencing cognitive change. You can borrow books from our library. It's really fantastic. So please join us next Thursday. In person would be great. We'd love to have a full room in our Fairway Auditorium for Mr. James. And of course, we'd love to have a full Zoom experience. So if you're too far away to make it in person, no problem. Just hop on the Zoom link. It will be in the newsletter on Monday. If you can make it, I believe it will be worth your while. Thank you to everybody for your kind comments in the chat. And Dr. DeVos, I hope you see the most recent one from Cheryl, who says she's been reading about using walking to study the determination of MCI, and seems to offer a lot of possible opportunities. That's what we like to hear. That's always our goal here at the KU ADRC. So with that, I have to hop off for another program. So I'm going to end us for now.
Where are you located?
Yes, good question. 4350 Shawnee Mission Parkway. And that is in Fairway, Kansas. It is where Johnson Drive and Shawnee Mission Parkway kind of fork off from each other. So just east of that split, Johnson Drive and Shawnee Mission Parkway. Our building is marked KU Clinical Research Center. You can drive into the parking lot, park right in front of the building, walk right in. The Fairway Auditorium is immediately to your left. Inside the KU Clinical Research Center at 4350 Shawnee Mission Parkway. We'll start at 2 o'clock. The webinar next week probably will go a bit longer than 30 minutes because we'll have Mr. James coming all the way from Nebraska. And I mentioned the snacks, right? We will have snacks, probably even brain healthy snacks. We'll make sure that there's something that's good for your cognition. Okay.
Will there be virtual snacks for those of us that are on?
I will invite those of you who attend virtually to prepare your favorite snack and enjoy it with us. I can't tell you that we will have wine in person, but if you want wine at home, nobody's stopping you as long as you're 21. So good question, David. All right. Watch your My Alliance newsletter Monday for more details about that and lots of other things. If you haven't gotten the emails that Dr. DeVos put in the chat, you can always email myalliance@kumc.edu and I will get you the information that you need. All right. Thank you again, everybody. Dr. DeVos, thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Dr.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye-bye.